Welcome. I'm Neha Dadbhawala. Today we're going to have the conversation with the man behind TiEcon 2008. He's a co-convener, Ajay Chopra. Watch us only on TiEcon Live. Welcome to TiEcon Live. I'm Neha Dadbhawala. Today I have the pleasure of introducing Ajay Chopra. He is a general partner at Trinity Ventures and also co-founded Pinnacle, and also the convener of TiEcon 2008. Welcome.
Actually, I'm a co-convener of
TiEcon
with my very good friend Manish Chandra.
Welcome. Manish, I didn't mean to steal the thunder from you. Welcome to our studio.
Delighted to be here.
Tell us your experience in the last 2 days. Today is the end of TiEcon. You've seen it all, from the keynotes in the morning on Friday to the last keynote you'll be seeing today.
Yeah, I mean, I would just use one word. I'm just elated. And actually, TiEcon started on Thursday evening, as you know, and we had Shaukat Aziz, ex-Prime Minister of Pakistan, give a wonderful talk, and then we went on into the morning, and it just started phenomenally well with Peter Thiel, followed with Bill Campbell. I mean, what fantastic talks for everybody to listen up to. And then a great set of distinguished speakers, throughout the day, and we, as you know, we ended the day with some terrific, keynotes, with Robert Swan being the, highlight of that evening. So it was just phenomenal. And then, of course, I cannot forget Naresh Goyal, who just, enthralled the audience with his...
He had a big smile on his face when he left the studio yesterday, and he said, "This is just a great set of people." That's it. This is what he had to say about the
somehow I have a feeling that he feels that way about every person in the world. I mean, that's what makes him phenomenal, right? I mean,
give yourself some credit, Ajay. I think
he just loves people. This
guy
was just, walking around. There was a person in the back, Brajesh Khanna, who was helping with all the logistics, and so Naresh, he helped Naresh kind of get mic'd up and everything. And then as Naresh was about to go on the stage, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes before, he walked up to him and said, "You know what, you helped me with all this, but you didn't tell me your name." And he shook his hand, and...
Fantastic.
And, so it was he's just a people person, and I think that's what made him great. So we had him, and then, this morning started phenomenally well with Elon Musk.
Right.
He drove up in his Tesla, which, people were just aghast about, right?
Right.
And then we went on through the day with some great speakers. We had Chamath Pilhaipatia from Facebook, gave a terrific talk, on the whole social platform. And then, we're still continuing as we speak. I'm looking forward to John Wood's talk this evening.
Right. And
I think that's going to be just totally awesome. So, he's got a great story on what it means to be an executive and then become, a social entrepreneur and really make a world of difference. So, yeah, it's good. So I'm just elated. That's the word that comes to mind.
So I guess you're not nervous.
And perhaps a little bit relieved.
That it's all over.
Yeah, there were little glitches here and there, but I think at the end of the day,
we managed. I think
all of us together, all the volunteers, we pulled off a phenomenal show. So
the planning is phenomenal. We start like 6 months. I don't know. You guys start a lot ahead in time. The content and putting together the pieces of who's going to speak and the distinguished CDs, the panelists, everything all comes together. How does this happen? I've always wondered that how can 1 or 2 people put together all of this idea? It takes a lot of planning, and a lot of patience. So tell us how it goes out.
It's just like doing a startup.
Really?
Honestly. So like, in November or December, for whatever reason, they picked Manish and I, the TiEcon, management picked Manish and I to do this. And they certainly didn't pick us for our looks. Not for me anyway, maybe for Manish. But, so they picked us.
I wouldn't say that, Ajay. I think, they had
so they picked us, and, and then we kind of got together, got on the phone, got a small group of people together. And I think, as you were mentioning when we were chatting, briefly before this, that there's a cultural issue.
Right.
And I think Manish and I chatted a few times, and I felt very comfortable that, we thought about building a quick organization, doing a startup together, right? So we thought the same way about doing a startup together. So I think when that was okay, we worked very rapidly to appoint the chairs, who really do all the work, frankly. I think we get the credit, but they really do all the work, and the teams, with them.
This is the inside story that you shouldn't be sharing.
It is true. It is really true. So what we did was we picked people that we mutually knew and honestly trusted.
Right.
And we also made sure that we populated them with folks that had a historical context on TiEcon, because there's a rich history on how this program has been put together. And you're part of that. I know you have been, with TiEcon, and so have I in my own way in the last few TiEcons, and Manish has also been. So I think, we made sure that we populated with the folks that had some history in each of the different subgroups. So the marketing group, the sales group, the entertainment group, the panels, the keynotes, the live TiEcon Live organization, and the whole works of stage management and so forth. There were 12 different organizations. So it's sort of like we appointed vice presidents of each of these organizations, right? And then let them hire people in their own image. So I think a big part of this is hiring right for that for that project. And so I think when that was put together, everybody started got on with their own respective areas. And we had a little glitches. We didn't have enough people signed up till about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and now we're going to have the largest attendance in the TiEcon show ever.
It's a full house all the time.
It's the biggest TiEcon ever. So we're just delighted. I think everything kind of worked out, and I would say that in each of the areas, including TiEcon Live, I believe we scored the highest marks compared to all previous TiEcons, as it should be.
Correct.
And I'm hoping the next TiEcon will be better than this one. So
I definitely think so. I think it's good to expect more out of ourselves every single time. Some of the things that you're looking forward to next year. I mean, this year there was a lot of incorporation of the Gen Y factor. The contents were driven that way. We had Facebook and all the kinds of other social entrepreneurial platforms that we incorporated. And this was the goal this year. Do you think that we met our expectations, and are you looking to incorporate such things ahead in the future?
Yeah. So Gen Y, including Gen Y in TiEcon, was actually a personal passion of mine because I feel it's very important for TiEcon as an organization to rejuvenate itself. And as you know, we did a couple of things going into TiEcon in that regard. We did a couple of mixers up in San Francisco where a lot of Gen Y entrepreneurs tend to hang out. And we did it in an environment that would be comfortable for them, in a bar, in a pub, so they can be more informal. We didn't try to do any structured events. It was very informal. And we brought in some high-profile Gen Y CEOs so they could, very easily sort of hang out together. That turned out to be fairly successful. But I think in the end, when I look at it, and I still have to look at the final outcome in terms of, and I don't even know whether we captured demographic data, probably not. But my feeling is that we turned out to be successful with the Gen Y effort in a different way.
True.
I think it was on the volunteer side that we attracted a lot more. And I think TiEcon Live is a great example of that.
Exactly.
I think it's almost all Gen Y.
All Gen Y, definitely.
And I noticed that in the marketing team, for sure. And I noticed that in several other teams. So, and I'm hoping that this will become the catalyst for attracting a broader Gen Y,
and you said it earlier that we need to recruit the right people, and then they take the message out, and the branding happens eventually. But that wave, the next wave of Generation Next, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we just need to have a sustained effort.
True.
Not just from TiEcon to TiEcon, but throughout the interval between one TiEcon and the next to continue to bring the new demographic into the mix. So in terms of you were asking, so there were several other things that we did. TiEcon Live this year was full blown.
Right.
The whole global exchange program was broadly expanded. The power lunches were very, very broadly expanded. So I think there were lots of new things. One thing that Manish and I were talking about this that we have to do is to get started earlier.
True.
So I think this is one of those things where it's a startup that gets done really quickly, but we have to iterate really hard and intensely, especially in the final few weeks.
Right.
I think it would be a little bit better, as a venture capitalist, I could say that if the startup took a little bit more time, and built the value
you built
along
the
the way.
Correct.
Right. So I think maybe starting in fall rather than November, December as we did last year would be far better. We can, and in particular in retaining the keynotes and distinguished speakers, because these guys are high-profile people, and they have the calendars booked for a year in advance. So
I think TiE conference is the only startup where you get a second chance next year.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think every time we get a second chance, we should take it and take it by the horns and do our best. But thank you very much for being with us here today at TiEcon Live. This was Ajay Chopra. Do watch more episodes on mytiecon.org.